Hey guys, Biometric here with a tutorial on a massive energy packing synth mayhem to put in your drops. What we are looking at here is my remix of You and What Army's Skyline, I believe? Yeah, Skyline. And this is the tutorial to the drop that kicks in at bar 33. So I'm gonna give you guys a little listen what it's gonna sound like and what we'll create.
Get ready for the end of a lifetime. You're staring at the edge of the skyline. Get ready for the end of a lifetime. You're staring at the edge. Get ready for the end of a lifetime. You're staring at the edge of the skyline. Get ready for the end of a lifetime. You're staring at the edge of the skyline.
Alright, so yeah, we'll create that in this other reason file I've prepared. I've set up a couple of things already. These things here, they are just basically the drums. So I don't have to add them in later on. And this is just an empty combinator with the notes that I've prepared for these instruments. So, what is the key to a drop that makes everybody in the club want to tear everything apart in a good way? It needs to be fat. How do we make something fat? We cover a big range of the frequency spectrum, along with a couple of other tricks I'll show you today. So let's get started. Okay, first off, as always, we're gonna create a combinator. So I'll go to create a combinator, and in the combinator, we'll create a mixer 14x2. And then we'll create a single Thaw. This Thaw is gonna be the base of our main pumping super saw kind of lead sound. So always show programmer and initialize the patch. Now this may sound a little bit different than other tutorials because I'm not gonna tell you how to set each single knob. What we'll do instead is create one master Thaw, copy that a couple of times, and then spread that out over the left and right panorama panning setting, so we can create a big and bright sound. First of all, I'm gonna adjust the attack, put that up a little bit, decay and sustain all the way up because it's gonna be one consistent sound. Give it some release as well. Then I'm gonna add some portamento, not too much. And afterwards I'm gonna up the polyphony because it's a multi-voice synth, and with as many voices we're gonna be dropping in there, there could be quite a bit of polyphony going on. This patch will be massive on your CPU, so make sure you actually have the power to run it. I'm gonna disable this oscillator, and now our basic Thaw is finished. I'm gonna copy that Thaw, copy devices and tracks. Well, there's no track in this one, but I'm gonna paste it 2 or 3 times. Another time, and another time. Okay, I'm just gonna switch to rack view from now on. Okay, so we have 4 Thaws in this combinator. Now I'm gonna route them all to the mixer, like this. And like this. So now we have all the Thaws connected. What we're gonna do now is get the main Thaw, leave that at maybe 86, and then turn all the other copies down by maybe a couple of dB. That's a sucky thing about this mixer, is that you can't see the actual dB levels, but we'll be fine for now. Okay, so for the first Thaw, I'll open up the filter all the way, grab an analog oscillator, another analog oscillator, a multi-oscillator, switch one analog oscillator to a square wave, like this, activate the throughput, and now I'm gonna grab the notes, put them on the combinator patch, and see what it sounds like. Now this is way loud, so I'm gonna turn that down. If you turn up the sustain all the way, you will get very, very loud sounds, so it's a good idea to throttle that on the mixer a bit. Okay, that sounds alright. Maybe give that some more depth. This sounds very nice. So this will be the main lead, like the main patch in this combinator. Now I'll create another one to just fill the space up a little bit with another analog oscillator. Also there, grab the filter, put it all the way up. Get some more analog goodness in there. Detune them a bit. Another multi-oscillator, maybe on interval this time. Some more detunage. Okay, this is starting to sound quite epic, but we want more. So I'll grab the fourth Thor, put some analog goodness in that one as well, like this. Okay, and the fourth one, maybe add a multi-oscillator on square, wavetable oscillator, a couple of sines maybe, I don't know. Basically just fill the whole thing up with oscillators. And now comes the interesting part. We will pan the third and fourth one all the way to the left, all the way to the right. And what do we have here? Awesome, bright and wide epicness. Okay, so that's our main instrument patch for now. Now what I'm gonna do is get all these Thors and route rotary 1 to the filter 1 frequency. This way, we'll be able to control the filter using this one rotary, and it's going to allow us to filter that thing down if we want to maybe make room for like a verse or something, where we still have the thing playing in the background but not as extreme. So let's see if that worked. Excellent. Just a quick note on notation. As you can see here in the MIDI sequencer and also on the Thor display, basically it's all E minor, D, C, and D, a typical epic kind of thing. Note also that the key of E is always being held throughout all the chords, which makes it even more epic. It's kind of like Tron Legacy, Daft Punk kind of style kind of thing. Okay, next thing we're gonna do is add a Scream 4 for some dirt and grit. So I'll grab the Scream 4. The preset BTR3 is quite alright because it's very simple. It's already set to tape and I like tape, and also the other sections are already turned off. So yeah, Scream 4, set that one to tape, and I'll just fiddle with the settings a little bit here. So I'll set the damage control to 109, 107 something, and turn the speed and the compression almost all the way up. So if I filter that down now, you can hear it adds a nice little bit of grit to the sound. Alright, now for the next thing after the grit, we'll need to pull up an equalizer. So grab an M-class equalizer and roll off all the frequencies around 200 Hz to make some room for the punchiness and the body of the snare, for the resonance. And then I also cut around 1000 Hz to make some room for the vocals. Give that thing some high shelf, some low shelf. So without and with. Next, I'll grab a stereo imager, set that to high band, and use it as a high pass filter to basically get rid of all the frequencies around below 100 Hz. So we have some room for the sub bass later on. Next, I'll get some reverb going. Just grab the standard preset of the RV 7000. You can mess with the decay a little bit, but it's just fine. And now for the energy and the pumping. Grab a compressor and hold shift and create a red drum computer. This is going to be our sidechain input, so I'll right click the red drum and delete its track because we won't need that. We're not going to be using this one for drum programming. Now hit tab to flip the rack around and connect the stereo outputs to the sidechain in and program a simple 4 on the floor beat. Turn the input gain all the way up, the threshold all the way down, the ratio all the way up, and you should instantly hear the typical sidechain sound. This sounds good. So this is this patch done so far. Next up, we'll add a new Thaw. I'm not going to put that into a combinator because I'm not really that big of a fan of dumping everything into combinators that I'll have to open up in order to see the devices. I'm kind of a messy person in that way. So yeah, I'll create a new Thaw, and I'll call that mid-frequency nastiness, because it's going to be way nasty. Okay, so I'll initialize the patch, grab a multi-oscillator, put that on sawtooth, octave 3, give it some slight detuning. And then I'll create an analog oscillator with some sawtooths going on. And then I'm going to create another analog oscillator with a square wave, pretty much all the way right here. And I'm going to turn that down to about -12 dB in the mixer. Now I'll route all that into a filter, and I'm going to switch that up to be a state variable filter and give that some band passing. You'll see why in just a second. I'm going to turn the envelope down. I'm going to give this thing some decay and sustain all the way up, maybe some attack. And then I'm going to activate the shaper and put that on hard clip, about 2/3 of the way. Okay, so I'll just grab the notes here, get out of edit mode, grab the mid-frequency nastiness, and I'm going to put that on solo just for now. Copy that over. Okay. This is how it sounds right now. And now we'll set up the LFO to give it some pumping effect like the other thing does, so it sounds like it's in unison. So select this waveform, I think it's waveform 3, yep. Turn on the key and the tempo sync and put that to 1/4 note, so it sounds just as in the sync with the song. Then I'll route the LFO 1 to the filter 1 frequency, and I'll give that actually, let's turn it up all the way. Then I'll create another modulation matrix entry, connect the LFO 1 to the mixer, and have that control the channel 3 level as well. Give that about 70 maybe. And now you'll be able to hear just the filter a little bit. You'll be able to hear that it pumps just as the other one, but in a different way. This one works with the filter instead of the loudness or the dynamics. Sound the levels. We're actually way too loud for clipping. I'm sorry. Okay, so I'm going to turn both of these down a little bit. Okay, wonderful. Next up, I'll add some distortion to this. So I'll create a Scream 4. Again, I'm not going to bother initializing it. Set that to tape, it already is. And then I'll put the damage fairly high, the speed fairly high, and the compression at about 1/4 for some nice distortion. Now I'll cut the low end all the way, boost the middle frequencies a little bit. And then I'm going to use the body, and I'm going to use the body in a very interesting manner. I'll flip the rack around and connect CV output 1 from the Thaw to the body scale and turn that up by to all the way 100% or 127 in MIDI. Now I'm going to route LFO 1 to the CV output 1 and also give that 100%. And now you can hear that the scale is being affected by the LFO. I'm going to turn the resonance down a bit, the scale as well. And that's the sound we have for the middle frequencies. Just gives it some grit and nastiness. Okay, now for the last Thaw before the sub bass. Grab another Thaw, initialize the patch. And for this one, we're going to take 2 squares. And I'm going to leave them like this. Send that to a low pass filter. Put the frequency around 600 Hertz. The resonance, turn that up a little bit. Give it no envelope. Turn the amp envelope all the way up. Give it some attack as always. Connect the LFO to the filter, and we're basically repeating this process, but we're creating a very low bass. So I'll just set the same LFO settings as before, and grab the notes, of course. So you can hear it's really low. Nice. Then we can add a shaper maybe and saturate that thing a bit. Give it some chorus. And also I'm gonna create a stereo imager to high pass everything at above 150 Hertz. And I'm gonna give it an equalizer as well. Roll off the low frequencies. Actually, don't give it any Q. Low off the roll frequencies. Cut the 200 Hertz with the snare as well. And then I also cut a bit of 400 because it just made it sound fat. Like this. Then also grab some tape distortion as always to make it sound very saturated. This is the main part of this patch, is just adding lots of very subtle distortion. So I'm gonna give that some compression damage. And let's consult our mixer levels. Looks good. Okay, now for the sub bass. I'm gonna create another Thor. This is gonna be really fast. Initialize it, show programmer, analog oscillator, turn that to a sine wave to make everything shake in the club. Grab the subs, play, and then give that some attack, decay, sustain, turn the filter down. This sounds about right for some nice sub awesomeness. And this is basically the patch. I'm clipping again. So make sure you're always mixing the right way. Never have any clipping in your song. And then I'll just drag the other stuff in. I'm gonna give you guys a listen to the drums again. Just a really simple drum arrangement. And that is really everything the drop in that song is made out of. Just this 8-bit Nintendo chord thing and these things. And now I'm gonna combine them and add some mastering. And there you have it. That's one massive bed of sound to get the speakers in the club shaking and put the DJs into real trouble because they won't be able to come up with anything as fat as this. So I hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and I wish everybody else taking part in the competition good luck. Biometric out.